Well, good morning, everybody. As you may or may not have observed, I'm back. It's been quite a while since I've done one of these, but it's time to get back in the habit. A lot of things have happened. I've been on an international trip. Then I got fairly sick, and in the middle of that whole thing, we moved to a completely new state. So even though I managed to find another gazebo to shoot these in, we're in very much a different location. But I'm excited to start these again. I'm excited to see what'll happen here in Season 2 of Morning Walks with Ichi. This is going to be probably a short one, just catching everybody up on what's been happening. So, like I said, first off, my wife and I just recently went on an international trip. We went to Zimbabwe in Africa. The trip was a rousing success. It was a humanitarian trip, and we were able to help a lot of people while we were out there. It's the same areas that I went to last year when I went out to Zimbabwe, but this year I was blessed in that my wife and my mother and my stepdad were all able to come with us, and it was a fantastic trip. More on that in another video. We got back and then immediately began preparations to move. We moved out of Colorado and we moved to Wyoming. Moved down here for a job at a fantastic little coffee shop that started here in the Cheyenne area. So, hey, if you happen to live in Cheyenne and you want good coffee, come down to the Boys Brew, because the Boys Brew, our coffee is really good. Anyway, so moved down to Cheyenne, got all that sorted out, and then about a week in, we figured out that one of the little mosquitoes that I had encountered while in Zimbabwe had made it through my defenses, and I caught malaria, which was all kinds of fun. But doing better now, and trying desperately to get back into the swing, to get out, do my morning walks, start doing these videos again, because what I found from my experiment the last time I did these is that when I do get up earlier in the morning and when I do get out and actually film a video and get it uploaded, it does two things. One, it gets me up and moving earlier, which gives me more time throughout the day, since I never seem to have enough time in the day to accomplish what I need to accomplish. And the second thing that it does is when I film one of these and I successfully get it uploaded somewhere, I get a sense of accomplishment. I feel like I did something. And when I start the day accomplishing something, the day almost always seems to go better. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I sat down here, I really didn't want to go live because I've been having a fairly frustrating morning. Trying to get out the door, get all the camera equipment together, and nothing has worked. So I'm back to doing this on my cell phone. But I was thinking about it, and being out here reminded me of my grandfather. And I know I've talked about my grandfather in the past. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I know I've talked about my grandfather in the past, but what I remembered this time around is that what I'm doing right now, getting up early in the morning, spending some time by myself, prayer and contemplation, this was something that he tried many, many times to get me to do. And I always resisted him because I didn't like getting up early. But there were days when I was a kid that he managed to get me up out of bed usually around 6 a.m. And we would go walking. And there was a lake in the apartment complex, well, not the apartment complex, but the housing development where he used to live. And we would go and walk around that lake. On fun days, we'd go around halfway around the lake and we'd go up to the little cafe that was up in the corner and we'd have breakfast, and then we'd continue our walk back around. What I never realized as a kid was just how difficult these walks were on my grandfather. His health was starting to fail, and he was a bigger guy like me, so his mobility was slowly but surely shrinking down. It's just kind of how things were. But this was what was important about my grandfather. He never gave up. He always tried again. There were days when I wanted to go on a walk where he just couldn't do it. He wasn't able to. But what was important is that he never stopped trying. Even when he hadn't been walking for months or years, and the doctors would say, Jack, you have got to start moving more because your health is getting worse and worse, he would always pull himself up out of his easy chair and he would try. I remember one of the last conversations I had with him before he passed was that he was really proud of himself because he made it down to his mailbox without using his cane. And it all kind of just clicked for me this morning how hard he worked to try to instill good habits into me and to share something with me that was important to him. And that was something I've always learned. It's all I've picked up from him, is that no matter how many times you fall down, you always get back up. No matter how many times you fail at something, you always stand back up and you always try. And it doesn't matter if you feel like it. You always try again. I believe there's no shame in falling. The only shame comes when we refuse to stand back up. So take that with you throughout today. Doesn't matter if you fall, but if you fall, stand back up, and you'll get a lot farther than you ever would have. To those who tuned in, thanks, I appreciate it. Maybe a longer video tomorrow morning. Let's keep our fingers crossed that I actually manage it this time around, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.